back off. And that's not the case. I'm actually a sharp, smart fighter.
So, well, I'm here. Who want to fight with me?
I really don't care who's in front of me. I don't feel like no fighter can beat me.
Demolish everybody, to be honest. Everybody that's in my way. The pinnacle to any weight division is to have all the belts, all of the titles.
Welcome to Bodywork. Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to Bodywork Boxing. It feels so good to be back. Every time, man, it's a privilege, man. I don't take it for granted to be able to go live, man, and have whoever would listen to me. When I'm trying to tell you, listen to me. Man, we in the hindsight is 2020 era. And I got to go back into the curriculum. Not going to really go into the gaslighting aspect of it. But I do want to touch on this hindsight is 2020 so that when I start breaking it down for y'all, you will actually understand. So let he who has ears to hear, let him hear. But the phrase hindsight is 2020 originates from the medical term 2020 vision, which refers to perfect eyesight, meaning that when looking back on events, it's easy to see what should have been done because you have the benefit of full knowledge after the fact, similar to having perfect vision. Eureka! And it's not going to be long. It's not going to be long, trust me. But it's a short little read I want to go over, man. What is the origin of hindsight is 2020 by Alexander Atkins? And this was back in 2020, right? 12/30/2020, 10 days after my birthday in 2020. Salute to all my Sagittari out there. Everyone is familiar with the adage hindsight is 2020, which means having a clearer understanding of an event or situation after it has occurred. The question is, however, just how clear is your understanding of the year? And he had 2020 in there because, of course, it was written in 2020. You would be kind if you described 2020 as a series of blank shows pulverized by a mind-numbing succession of escalating train wrecks exploding into a spectacular sequence of cascading cluster drowned by wave after wave of destructive tsunamis. I'm trying to edit myself right now, but it might get a little hairy when I get into the actual content. So I'm going to blur these out for the sake of the algorithm, and hit the like button if you came on in. In short, if you wanted to know what the apocalypse will be like, just look back at 2020. You just lived through it. And if you are like most people, you really don't want to see it with 2020 vision. It's just too painful. You talking about 2020. So let's turn our view from the catastrophe that was 2020, annus horribilis, to borrow the words of Queen Elizabeth and focus on a phrase mentioned earlier. Where did it originate? Let's travel back more than 150 years to Utrecht, Netherlands, to the office of ophthalmos Herman Snellen, 1834 to 1908, at the Netherlands Hospital for Eye Patients. In 1862, Snellen introduced the Snelling chart to study visual acuity. You know the one, you've seen it, a dozen times over the years. It is either printed as a tall, rectangular poster or projected on a wall in the ophthalmologist's office. It consists of 11 lines of optotypes, specifically designed capital letters that gradually decrease in size. An individual with normal vision can read all those letters from 20 feet away. Thus, normal vision is 20/20. But why 20 feet, you ask? Excellent question. Although that number appears to be random, it is not. At 20 feet, the eye is relaxed in its normal shape and doesn't require bending light rays to focus on an image on the retina. Ah, I see. So if you wear glasses, you are in good company. More than 75% of Americans do not have 20/20 vision. I do. Bodywork does. Michael Rogers does. And if you wear glasses or contacts, it is likely that they were designed and manufactured by Elisor Luxottica, a behemoth in the eyewear business. The company, that's what they're going to attribute it to anyway. The company has a market capitalization of 70 billion and annual revenue of about 7.8 billion. While you may see competitors in the marketplace, Glasses.com, Lens Crafter, Sunglass Hut, Pearl Vision, and Target Optical, it is only an illusion. All those stores and brands they carry are all owned by Elisor Luxottica. But I digress. So years later, the introduction of the Snellen chart in America influenced the phrase. The earliest usage of the hindsight of 20/20 appears in an article in the California newspaper, the Van Nuys News, February 17, 1949, written by a humorist, Richard Armour. Like in Under Armour, Richard Armour. He wrote, most people's hindsight is 20/20. Nothing could be clearer. Mike, why are you talking about hindsight is 20/20? If you listen, I'ma tell you, right? Listen, we are in the era now. Well, I be trying to tell you in real time. I be on it in real time. I be saying the stuff that make people uncomfortable because I'm comfortable being uncomfortable. I be telling you in real time, like as it happens. If I have time to get online or sit down and I have a little time on my day after I've been productive and worked out and did everything I needed to do, and I allow myself some playtime, and I can get online, I tell you in real time what's going on. Because listen, man, I don't have any affiliations. I don't have anybody I have to appease. I don't have anybody I have to I don't have to hold any pockets. I don't have to wash any drawers. I'm not giving up my fruit cocktail. Nobody is not taking my cornbread. You know what I'm saying? I'm a man. And so I'm like, man, if I'm going to be the same way, that's why I say, welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to Bodywork Boxing. I give you my government. Because I don't have time to play. Like, I want you to know that what you see is what you get. So when I get offline and I close these cameras down and you see me outside in the parking lot, at a store, at a gas station, you're going to get the same me. I don't got to get into character and act like this and act like that and be like, oh man, I'm trying to do this and I'm trying to do that. I'm just here to state the facts. Equifax. So, like they said about the vision, if you are looking at everything in the right aspect and you're at a comfortable distance, you're not too close to anybody in the camp and you're not trying to interfere and you're not vying to get an interview and you're not trying to, go overseas and, kiss the ring and bend the knee and all these other things, then your eyes will be relaxed. And when you're looking at everything, you can actually keep it facts. Because a lot of people will try to label you, oh man, you just a glazer, you just do this. No, I'm a fan. I have several boxes. I allow myself to be a fan. I don't know what this whole is like reverse psychology, this mind, but I'm not a fan. I'm no fan of man. No, come on, man. Miss me with that dumb shit. We all are fans of certain fighters. I just happen to like a lot of different fighters, and I have been watching them over a period of time and actually aligning it up with the activities. And a lot of the times in real time, I'll be having my fingers on the pulse of boxing. And if I have time to get online and play, even though I take it serious, then I speak it in real time, like what's actually happening at that time. And people, oh man, here you go. Here we go, trying to. No, it's like, here I go, stating the facts. Only to a couple. I told y'all, I've been telling y'all since the basis of my channel. I said my channel is based on SIC, which means silence is consent. It says all it takes is for evil to prevail, for grown men to sit around and remain silent. That's the essence of my channel. That's the essence of whenever you hear me speaking. Like if you're not saying nothing or whatever because you like, oh man, I don't want to offend this man. I might run into this coach. I might go into that. Like, no, man. Like if you're not doing anything wrong, you're not being salacious. You're not berating them, because we all love and support the boxers. That's our entertainment. We want them to get bread. We want them to be successful. We want to see the elite fight the elite. You know, we want them to go home safely. It don't always happen because, you know, you can't play boxing and some people don't be ready. They get in there, they get their ass waxed, and something bad might happen. So whenever I get online, it's my responsibility to just speak the facts. Don't let no slander on nobody. So a lot of these guys who I'm like currently, I'm off. I done stepped off to the side of a lot of these guys to whereas I'm their fan when the bell goes ding, ding, ding. When the referee is in there and he's saying, all right, now look, I told you now, here, right here, I'm allow this to go on, and down here, hey, listen, break. When I say break, no punching out the play. But when that's going on, when they get in there and they doing the little side to side shuffle, they go in the corner and do the cross across, that's when I'm their fan. Outside the ring, I have gotten off of some of these guys because I've had time, like a scientist, to sit and watch what's been going on, and I've been seeing these patterns. So what I say is, man, look, I'm here to put stakes in the ground. Like, you know how people put stakes in the ground? They either put a stake in the ground to hold some shit down, or they put stakes in the ground to create a memorial, aka a timestamp. That's what I do with my channel. So sometimes I feel like it's time that you got to go out here and you got to put a timestamp. Like I was adamant about it when I was doing it for Sabril Matias. Nobody was rocking with me. After he lose, then you come out and find out, oh man, that was my favorite fighter. Ain't nobody messing with him. I'm like, well, why was you wasn't over there? Oh, you was biting my shit. They was, oh man, Sabril ain't this and that. I was putting stakes in the ground because I said, man, listen, you can say what you want. He's not the most technical boxer. You can say what you want about him. He's like a people's champ. He's a fan's fighter. He gonna go in there, he gonna give you action. You know what I'm saying? They waited till that man lost his belt to start bringing him up. Oh, he should fight this and that. But in real time, they wasn't doing it. The same thing with Anyway. Oh man, you on that, man. Anyway is a hype job. They did that shit with Fulton. I stopped having relationships with people over that Fulton and Anyway fight. Why? Because they were using me. In real time, I was telling them, hey man, Fulton, man. Hey man, Fulton's camp, man. Like, stop calling this guy a hype job. I said it's gonna look real bad. It's gonna look real bad if you go over there and you get stopped by a hype job. What happened? Went over there and got stopped by a hype job. Then he had his law moment. He had his drop. His personality. He was moping for a little while and he wound up bouncing back. And I said, look, that's the Fulton that we remember, man. The one that was like, hey, answering questions, happy, you know what I'm saying, motivated and all that. Get out of the slump. You lost. Like, it was a learning lesson. It wasn't just a loss, but if you learn from it, it was a lesson. And obviously he did his thing. He got back. He looked superb. He looked clinical. I'm like, that's all we wanted. That's the Fulton. That's the guy. Like, I bet you he won't underestimate another opponent. But I was the bad guy in real time. Being in Baltimore, going up against them guys from Philly that's a hop, skip, and a jump away. I look like the bad guy calling them out on their bullshit because they were biased every time they talk about it. It's a whole nother camp that's biased whenever they talk about it. And I understand having your favorites, but you biased because you affiliated, because you want them to win. It's cool. When it comes to the people that I rock with several different ones. When it comes to one in particular, one from this area, I'm biased for the area. The fact that he's an example of what can happen if you do hard work You use your craft, you dedicate yourself, you make some sacrifices, and you can make it out. So I'm biased to that as far as the city. I'm not biased to what I've seen in the ring. I've been watching the dude for years. When I stepped away from boxing, Spence and Tank brought me back. I was watching them. Jamel Charlo, I was watching them. A lot of these guys I was watching, I was watching anyway. I wasn't always a believer. I wasn't always a believer in Benavidez. But over time, I watched him and I said, hey, man, like, Mike, you got to stop. Hey, man, you got to let that go with Benavidez. Hey, he the real deal. And it took some time, but I do that with all these guys. I don't just jump from bandwagon to bandwagon. It's like, no, you got to show something. And a lot of these guys are already way more accomplished than anybody out there, like in the boxing world, especially if you reach a championship. But in real time, I try to speak facts. Skip all the bullshit, Mike. Get down to the net. Okay. I'm going to get down to it. Listen. In real time, right, when Teofimo Lopez was out there on his tirades doing the bananas and pajamas shit, right, I was calling out in real time. I said, man, y'all got to stop this. Y'all got to stop this. Y'all got to nip it in the bud. It's not right. There was a popular channel out here teeter-tottering, doing that political shit, bouncing, straddling the fence all over the place. I'm not going to be the one to call them a racist. Listen, man, I got to wait, and no, in real time, it is what it is. But it's almost like you're trying to run for president. You got all these people listening, waiting, and watching. You trying to run for president, so you trying to please this side and that side. You can't do that, brother. This is not politics. Especially with all the wisdom and the knowledge and all that. You don't got to do that at this point, brother. You got the audience. Just tell the truth. But then again, a couple months later, oh, man, he a racist, man. I was trying to tell y'all. No, you was not trying to tell us anything. You were trying to straddle the fence. Fast forward to the Keyshawn situation. When we look at the Keyshawn situation, I was like, man, listen, man, we don't know if Dennis Barantek sent that stuff, man. Like, that don't even sound right. Like, first of all, why would he do that? Like, there has been RACISM in boxing, and it forever will be. It has been. But we make it a factor when it's not. And when it is, we try to straddle the fence. I was just telling my lady the other day, I said, man, you know what? It's so crazy that every culture, everybody that has a culture, like especially if you have a flag, you can show the utmost, you can outright get on every channel you know and say, hey, man, he's Dominican. I'm going for my Dominican guy. You can get up there and you say, hey, he's Mexican. I'm going for my Mexican guy. Black people can't do that. Oh, yeah, I'm going for the black guy. They're going to do the proverbial slap the shiznit out of you if you do that. And we was talking, and she was like, you know what, yeah, we was going back and forth, and I'm like, man, that's crazy. But it's one thing in having pride in who you are and where you come from and your heritage and all that, but then being blatantly racist. And I did not see that. How could you see that? Because most people never even knew anything about Baranchek. But in real time, I was saying, man, no, Keyshawn, man, he's out of pocket. People were saying he stayed poised all through the whatever. Like, just trying to be a bandwagon guy. It's like, no, man. You got to shut down that behavior, and you got to tell. It's like when you see your man's at a party and he didn't have one too many. It's like, hey, man, like, hey, I mean, you can't tell a grown man not to drink no more, but you got to be like, hey, man, hey, have this water, drink this water. Let's go outside. Let's get some fresh air. Let's do this. Let's do that. Because you're going to try to get home, and a real friend would actually tell you that what you about to do to yourself. Me, myself, I know after 44 years being on this earth, it's just you be in certain situations, you gonna pull your man to the side and be like, hey, man, I think we good, man. You think we good? You think you good? You all right? You buzzing? Okay, cool, man. Let's have some water. Let's go outside. Let's get some fresh air. Let's walk around for a second. Let's walk a little bit of this off. Eat this. You're gonna do that in real life, but when we get online, we change into something else, and we are scared to tell and pull everybody's coattail to what's really going on. People should have told Keyshawn he was out of pocket in real time, like me. Only I got painted as a hater. Oh, you just don't want to see him fight Tank. This ain't got nothing to do with him fighting Tank. This got something to do with him being out of pocket, and you don't want to establish a legacy like that, brother. I was high on Keyshawn, then I started seeing some of the behavior. And I hate to say what the word is for it, but it was that kind of behavior. Nobody pulled that man to the side. They just condoned it because they was thirsty to have somebody that would rival somebody else or somebody that they can crown a champion or whatever. But the behavior, the behavior that he was exhibiting, especially that week of the fight, I said, man, this is a gimmick. Go back and look at the video. I said the script. You got people coming out today talking about, man, listen, man, it was all of the antics and all of that. It's like, what? You are hindsight is 2020 looking ass. Why do we do this all the time? Why you just can't keep it a buck in real time? Is your audience worth? You got the audience already. Just tell them the truth. Change the culture. Oh, you just saying that because you just got like 1,300 subscribers and we got over 200 or we got 100. I'm not worried about that. This is the 300. All we need is a few good men and women. That's it. Some soldiers that could do everything. Well-versed, solid, have integrity, tell the truth, break shit down. Don't shoot from the hip. Tell the man in real time. Tell T.O. in real time, nah, bro, that ain't the play. Tell Key in real time, nah, bro, that ain't the play. Be vocal, say something. But it look real bad when you wait till weeks later, months later, and you flip the switch, and now all of a sudden you a hindsight is 2020 looking at. It don't make no sense. So nobody told him that, and I said, man, listen, it looked real bad. I didn't want to make a big deal because it's like, oh man, you're gonna try to derail this man. But I was like, man, it looked real bad. In real time though, the day of, like the day it happened, the night before the fight, the recap, all that, in real time I was saying these things. I didn't wait till today, 2 weeks later, to come back and be a hindsight is 20 perfect vision looking at. I had clear vision at the time. But for the man to apologize to the dude, for ESPN and to allow Top Rank and all them to sit up there and still talk about the racial tirade and all that and make that a big deal after the man had already apologized to him, saying he had to overcome so much. But you talk about some concocted stuff, but everybody talk about the PBC. They don't do stuff like that. All those gimmicks and all that. You might have had a moment where Jermell Charlo was going back and forth with Tony Harrison, one of the most classic back and forths, in those fights and in between the fights, and then all them talking they stuff to each other. You might have had one to clap, but they do stuff like that. It ain't no WWF, WWE stuff. This stuff that's not. It's organic. It's organic. It's just two fighters either don't like each other or something really happened that whatever, not popping something out your ass and then making it like that's what it was. Speak to that in real time. Don't wait till after the fact because it's not a good look. So, there's many things that Tank had been saying. And Tank had been saying all these things about Turkey, and people was like, oh, he just don't want to fight nobody. He won't fight his contemporaries. I'm just so sick of it. I just wish he would retire. Okay, that's cool. The man said he's going to retire, and I'm one of the ones that been saying that you're not going to appreciate him till he hang up the gloves. Because when you look at the body of work, when you look at the opponents, what he was able to do in those fights, when they show those fights, like how they doing on Prime right now, you can go to that channel on Prime and you can almost every night, especially when I can't sleep, when I'm having a hard time, I get up there and watch. I might watch 2-3 fights, man, before I actually get to bed, man, going back and watching them. The ones that actually have playback value, because they're not going to pop nothing up there that don't really have no payback value. You're going to appreciate the man when he hang up the glove. But it's a lot of people that's throwing darts at the proverbial throne and making up these narratives and perpetuating these narratives. And I said, this is why I took a break from the end of last year till like a week or two ago, because I was like, man, listen, man, we are in 2025. If your narratives have not grown, if they have not developed, your narratives are still drinking milk. Your narrative should be eating steak. But if you rehearsing the same narrative, you have the same talk of, oh, you won't fight nobody, and that's all you got? Not in 2025. That's all you got? He's scared? Scared of what? He said something about going over there, man, and I'm like, man, first of all, aside from Tank being who Tank is, I said that, listen, man, a lot of the people over here strike me as people who are, like, I wonder what kind of lives they have at their place of employment. At the end, as of August, I left my job in August. I couldn't take it no more. I've been independent ever since. I've been working for myself. I haven't felt as good as the last time when I was working for myself, when I was actually out on the road driving trucks, when I was doing that. But ever since I've done that, it's kind of giving me a whole different aspect of life, and a whole different outlook of life and how I see things. And even though I have a degree in business, it has given me even a deeper appreciation and a better sense of how business really works. So aside from, and I don't like to count pockets and get into numbers. That's the last thing I like to do, especially when I'm online debating somebody about numbers. But I was asking myself, and I posed it out here to the universe and anybody that would actually hear it. I said, man, listen, man, if you're going to try to sell us out to this guy Turkey overseas, I question how you would feel at your place of employment if they outsource the work. I'm not talking about having, occasionally having a temp or a sub or one little sliver or aspect of the business, outsourced to, a foreign or whatever. Like if you want to do some affirmative action type stuff, where it's like you want to hire somebody from India or, get somebody from Mexico. Like if you want to have like outsource some of it. But if you're trying to sell the whole shebang bang, if you're trying to get everybody, oh man, y'all need to be on this, y'all need to be on that. I said, I question your business acumen. And I knew that the people, it's crazy because the largest channels with more to lose in business, who understand business, more than 98% of their fans were the main ones pushing this Turkey stuff. And I said, I question your business acumen. So let's just say you were an entity and you started off as an LLC, a small LLC, right? You got your EIN. You formulated your company. You got your articles of organization. You done everything you needed to do. You start getting you got a baby contract here. You got a baby contract there. You had a little dry spell. You got a baby and in the meantime, you was doing whatever you needed to do to piece it all together. You know what I'm saying? And survive. And then you happen to land a contract or a deal that made you, I would say, in the top, let's just say 5%. It landed you, like your little work, like all the work, effort, energy, and time you put into it, landed you in the top 5% in your genre, in your area of expertise. It landed you in the top 5%. And you did that over here in America, on American soil, doing this. Why would you forego that to go somewhere else where it's not guaranteed? Like nothing isn't guaranteed. Why would you bite? Because contracts work both ways, right? Contracts work both ways. So if you obligate, if somebody has entrusted and say, listen, out of all these people, I'm gonna give you the contract. Out of all these people, you're gonna be the one. We're going to do this together, because we've gotten away from, in business, like business has changed to where we have been pricked to believe that when you do a business transaction, and y'all shake hands and paperwork is done or whatever, and y'all both walking away, somebody is walking away from that situation looking like, yeah, I really got that sucker. And that's not the best way of doing business. The best way of doing business is like when somebody's, like when you're driving, how somebody's getting off of an exit and somebody's getting on. it's transactional where both slow down and they change lanes at the same time and they can keep it moving. Not where one had to almost come to a screeching halt and let the other one over, or it was a fender bender, or, you know, not the best business transactions are when both parties walk away satisfied. We've gotten away from that. So you can build yourself up into an entity where you are that man or that woman, that guy, the proverbial that guy. You can build yourself up to that. And you'll have a whole bunch of people who've never sniffed anything near what you're able to see telling you, oh man, you don't want to do this. Why you don't want to go do business with China? Business with China? Why you don't want to go over in Indonesia? I bet you don't want none of that Indonesia. Business in Indonesia? Do you know what I've established here? So when you land that contract and you have that deal with that entity, right? If you decide you just want to up and cut sling load from that to go over there, and people will tell you in the same breath, a bird in the hand is better than two in the bush, but they'll tell you or coerce you or encourage you to do something dumb like that. That's why I say I question a lot of people's business acumen when they talk about some of the dumbest shit that they talk. And that's not even talking about boxing. That's just basic business. You wouldn't do it. You personally wouldn't do it. 9 out of 10 of these people that's talking that bullshit, they wouldn't do it themselves. But if we go back to boxing, Tank has said many things about the stuff going over there with Turki. And then in real time, one of the biggest channels was the main one, and they create a lot of the narrative. They water the narrative every day. Backhanded compliments every day. But his name keeps the lights on. Right? But he was saying, man, listen, man, I don't want to go over there, man. Like, listen, like that Turkey stuff, like, why y'all going over there because y'all can't sell here? Oh, man, look at it, man. People get mad at the truth. Y'all are going over there because y'all can't sell over here. Over here with business and the powers that be, the people that put on the events where business matters, like where revenue matters, where profit matters, where the business has to make sense, or there will be no seats to put butts in to sell any tickets to come see anybody. If that don't make sense over here. But everybody have these eureka moments. They have these money grab moments where they just see a big bag over there, big turkey bag in a big turkey bowl. And this fight, not only the whole thing about the man being outraged and telling his guy to score, not only that, but the fact that it's something that where you advertise something as such, it's almost like when Jacquees said he's the new Prince of R&B or whatever he said. And, oh my God. No, he's not. And they found all these ways where when you do stuff like, say, the best card of the century, if you sipping the Kool-Aid, you could be running, yeah, man, this is the best card. It wasn't. It really wasn't. It was a great card. It really wasn't, though. It wasn't it wasn't. It wasn't, man. That was just not to take any shots. It was a great card. It was a great card. Right? Very action-packed, plenty of fights to look at. You had a variety of different fighters and different styles and different situations to where, a lot of my bets didn't come out. Like, I lost a lot of my bets. Like, mainly because some of the bets I had stoppage and some of the people that, like I was high on Bacoli. I thought Virgil was going to stop Madrimov. That was one. I'm big on Bivol. I call him the Matador. You seen it in the introduction of my video. I call him the Matador. I started calling him that really after he did what he did to Canelo and Zerto. I said, oh man, he's the Matador. But it was an interesting card. It has playback value, believe it or not. It has playback value. You had Caballero. I think he solidified himself as a major player in the game, with what he was able to do. He established himself. So there were moments, Hamza Shiraz, I mean, he proved that, I mean, that was my guy. That's the one where I lost. That's where I said I ate some of the best crow since I went against Devin Haney in a Regis fight. And I stood up at the top of the mountain, because I'm one of them guys that can do that. I stood up at the top of the mountain when Devin spanked Regis. And I said, Devin, goddammit, if you're going to give me some crow, I want it to taste just like that, goddammit. And I saluted the young man because he did some shit I didn't see coming. So Adames gave me probably the second best plate of crow that I've ever had since Devin Haney did that to Regis. And I can admit it. Because a lot of people will get it confused that because you're going for a fighter to win, you hate the other guy. No, I just, up until that point, Adames didn't show me really anything that I thought that a boxer like Hamza Shiraz with the height and the reach and that he was boxing like that using his, his length and, he had some power. And I thought that, okay, not having the best feet in the world, I thought Adames wouldn't be able to do certain things. And Hamza coming off the high, this high that he's had over his last couple fights, he was going there and, show who he really is. And Adames put on a beautiful boxing clinic. And I was like, at first I was like, oh man, Hamza, he's doing right what I want. And then, boom, after 3 rounds, it was all Adames. And in real time, I was calling that. I said, hey man, I would say, hey man, 3-0. I got a 3-0 right now, Shiraz. Then the next round, I said, up 3-1 Adames. Oh man, shit, 3-2. 3-1 Hamza. 3-2 Hamza. I didn't comment on nothing else, and then I'm like, man, by the time they got up to the 9th, I'm like, man, Hamza ain't won a round. And I was going for Hamza. I can do that. But you hear the narrative based on the fact that people hate a fighter or they don't like a fighter. That's the kind of input you're going to get. It's just like with the Schofield thing. I did a video last week talking about, well, a lot of people are talking about Schofield based on whether or not they like Shakur or they dislike Schofield and his father. And I said, man, the truth is probably somewhere in the middle, right? The truth is probably that Senior, he did so much trolling that people would say you like to get wet. Training Day style. Remember when Denzel told him, he's like, I ain't know you like to get wet, Jake? Like, he did so much trolling to where like he did all these things that made be like, oh man, you might have definitely ruined your reputation or your plausibility. You might have ruined your plausibility with all that foolishness, thinking you have to sell a fight the way Devin Haney's father, Bill Haney, was selling a fight. You are not Bill. The people don't resonate with you like they do Bill. You can't get away with doing some of the shit, even though Bill might have done some even more egregious things than him. You can't get away with it. They don't resonate with you. But then again, maybe Floyd really did get sick. Why did I say that? Because Dubois wound up getting sick and nobody said nothing. Why? Because Dubois has plausibility. He wasn't out all on social media saying this and this and that, making anything that he say after that questionable. But the truth is, it didn't matter whether you was going for Shakur. It shouldn't matter if you was going for Floyd Schofield. You should have been looking at the fact that, man, listen, I don't care what nobody say. This man had $1 million damn near in his pocket. $1 million damn near in his pocket. Yeah, you can be trolling, you can be unbelievable, whatever. I do not have a man walking away, a man and his son, or a man and his father, walking away from $1 million that's in the bag where you get to show the world if it was not legit. So I was able to separate the fact that, okay, Floyd, man, you out of pocket, man, with some of that stuff. I still don't want to call, I don't want to call a man a woman name and all that. I just don't. But that's not some shit. I don't think a lot of these people that do that will say that to that man's face. And out of respect for man to man, I just wouldn't, I didn't even like, I still don't call Shakur Shakira. I might call him Twitter, but I got principles. There's certain things I'm just not going to do. So I don't agree with them calling aunties like, yeah, man, hey, you might like to get wet, man. And your son and his credibility and how people are viewing him perhaps has changed. I still think that there may be some validity to the fact that young Floyd got sick, because you can't tell me anything that convinced me that that man would walk away from $1 million. An opportunity to fight Shakur coming off of hand surgery. And Shakur got peanut brittle for hands. Like, you can't tell me, and you are a puncher, an athletic puncher. With everything riding for you. It just don't make sense. So either it was some WWF stuff and it was a script to where this was going to happen all along, and they had already told Padley in the story of him coming out just in case he could land one lucky punch and catch Shakur with some wild haymaker and put him out, and now boom, they got another star is born because he upset Sheik's boy last time. But the truth was, more than likely Floyd was really sick, man. Something gotta be wrong with you to walk away from $1 million, bro. If nothing was really wrong, because guess what? It ain't no guarantee that your next fight is gonna guarantee you anything near that. Especially when that's like 10 times what you got in your last fight. That's a step further than what Frank did with Shakur, because I still think Frank should have took that fight with Shakur, win, lose, or draw, you know, because nobody was expecting him to win, just like nobody was really expecting Floyd to win. They knew that Floyd had a chance because Shakur coming off surgery. Hadn't seen him with a young, explosive, like, athletic fighter like that. You know, that's been working on stuff. They got access to one of the greatest boxers ever in Bernard Hopkins. So it was intrigue in that fight, but nobody kept it a buck on that for real. They, based on the fact that they didn't like Senior, or based on the fact that they think Shakur walk on water, nobody was objective in that whole conversation. And we still don't have the answers. Nobody was objective in the fact that, listen, man, a guy with 31 amateur fights and 15 pro fights should not be able to last 9 rounds with a silver medal Olympian, 3-weight world champion. With what, a 4-day notice? So either he had more than 4 days, because I started hearing this, oh, well, they had the backups and they had, why didn't they announce that? Like how Devin said, remember how Devin, when the Devin and Ryan stuff came up, he came out from the rip, basically threatening Ryan, like, listen, Arnold Barbosa is your backup. You fuck this up, I'm fighting Barbosa. Fuck it up if you want to. Ryan called his bluff. That's why I was saying, why y'all? I've never seen them bring a backup to the press. That set precedence. I've never seen a backup come to the press conference. I hadn't seen that. So I said, man, Devin be setting some precedences, boy. Not only did you have one fight to get undisputed, but you brought a backup to a press conference, and then when shit hit the fan and Ryan shit the bed, you didn't even fight the backup. But that was a lesson learned. I'm going to digress. So either Padley knew that he was going to get an opportunity because it was orchestrated and it was something, or I'm leaning towards Floyd really got sick and his father just do way too much on the internet. And it kind of changed the views of how I see young Floyd, because after that I've seen all this like God stuff and all this like faith-based stuff, and you know, God's with me and all that. That's all I've been seeing here lately. I'm like, man, now ain't the time, bro. Go lay down. Go recover. Go get, you know what I'm saying, come up with the game plan. And we shouldn't really hear from you until your next opponent is announced or Oscar come out and clear the air on it after all the facts, because it was messy. And maybe they did get sick, and maybe it was something to where it was like temporary, and maybe he could have got out of it. But with his father being so sensational, taking it to the press, once it reached the press, then everybody knew about it. Then they would not allow that fight to go on because you already leaked it out there, and now the world knows. And how would it look if Shakur go in there and hit you in the temple, and you know what I'm saying, you go meet the ancestors? It wouldn't look right because your father leaked it out. So I'm thinking it's somewhere along that. We don't know all the facts, but you got people on both sides, you know, basically rendering judgment on, and they don't even still have all the facts. It's just based on who they like or who they don't like or who they fuck with. That's it. But with the Turkey stuff, when they seen Turki get up and tell his mans, you know, hey man, you down 2 points. When they seen that, now it's all this outrage. Now they can go back and say, oh man, Tank was right. What do you mean? Maybe I misjudged that. Maybe I misinterpreted. You misinterpreted a lot of shit. You misinterpreted a whole fucking video, a whole interview of stuff and twisted it around. And you're gonna wind up being wrong because this is what happens. In hindsight, they'll come out and tell you the truth. And I said, be careful about those kind of people. It's people that do that all the time with these boxers. They be riding with these boxers, and whatever these boxers say, they'll just ride right along with it. Yeah, because Keyshawn said, oh yeah, because Shakur said, yeah. Because Virgil said, yeah. Because Bud said, yeah. Because Mel Charlo, he said, yeah. Because Spence said, they just ride with what they say. And when they're proven wrong, they don't ever come back and be man enough to be like, nah, man, I was looking at the count. Because I used to do that. When I was affiliated with certain groups, I found myself like, yeah. And then I'm like, hold on. No. That don't go with what I've been seeing. I rock with y'all, but that don't go. And that's when I started doing the Homer Simpson in the bush. That's when I started saying, nah, bro, I see what you be doing now, bro. Like, it's easy. See, because when you casual and you don't have the time to sit down and look at everything the right way, you know, with relaxed eyes, you know, with 20/20 vision, because you might not have natural 20/20 vision, but you can get some spectacles. But what are your spectacles? The internet, Google, going back and looking at a fight, going back and listening to an entire interview. Those are your spectacles. So you can have 20/20 vision if you don't have it naturally. If you can't pick up on bullshit naturally, like when a certain father talk, because you've been raised around bullshit all your life, so you can tell when somebody's bullshit and you can't bullshit a bullshitter. Pick up your spectacles. Don't be so quick to just go by what these boxers say and just run with it like, oh yeah, man, because you're gonna look dumb. And when you don't, I know if you're around me and you don't come back and be like, yeah, man, you know, I was looking at it, man, and now, man, if you don't do that around me, I'm gonna be looking at you kind of funny. I really am. Because we're in the age of information. We're in an age to where you can sit down and look. People don't even, I can tell. Listen. You know the funniest thing? The funniest thing is when you on a channel, right? You on a panel and you're debating with somebody and you are in all essence, you are a bigger fan of their fighter and you know more about their fighter than they do. You just know they like the dick ride. That's the weirdest thing. Like me going at it with these OnlyFans, it's like, hold on, cuz I was going up against the Devin fans when I was a Shakur, not an OnlyFan, but when I was on the side of a Shakur over a Devin, when I was on that side, I stood in the gap. I had to know the facts. I knew that Shakur wasn't going to get, when they came out and said that 25% and he was going to get the biggest payday of his life and all that, they coming right back around because of Shakur's recent activity to try to legitimize the 25%. There never was no 25%. So to find yourself arguing with a knee pad wearing Shakur only fan is some bullshit. Because really, in all in essence, I'm a bigger Shakur fan than most people that are Shakur fans right now. I don't like the latest moves, and I always had Tank over him and Devin. Period. That's my opinion. Nobody will be right until something like what happened with Bud and Spence. Nobody will be right until they actually fight. But a lot of people grandstand based on tribalism. I don't do that. I'm not part of no tribe. None. I can see if you on the team and somebody paying you and you getting, okay, cool. But then you should divulge that somebody's paying you. Or that somebody that you in there and that this is why I do it. Like, yeah, I give myself, I'm giving myself the privilege to be biased. Because listen, man, I train with these guys. I do this, man. Hey, listen, I got them over here. Like, I understand that. But as fans out here online with access to all the information, time to look at all the interviews, We can't do that. Don't be hindsight is 2020. I'm gonna tell you another thing. People are still running around, and this is how I know people don't know what they're talking about. One of these Shakur only knee pad wearing ass motherfuckers came out here talking about, yeah, Turkey gave Josh Padley a house. Turkey did not give Josh Padley a house. You can tell. They don't even do research. They go and they congregate where they can get their backs rubbed and their balls massaged, and they can just be like, yeah, and nobody gonna challenge them, and that's where they congregate. Somewhere where they can feel comfortable and be out there throwing rocks like everybody else. They don't want it. They don't want to stay around and be in that fire where you're gonna get tested and questioned, and somebody gonna see what you really made out of. They don't want that. Why? Because they don't even do the research. If you go back and you look at the video, it's the video. All of the videos of Josh Padley said, no, I wish that somebody actually bought me. I wish that Turkey actually bought me a house. He said, no. What was interpreted was, he said, man, listen, I got enough money. He said, I got enough money to where now I should be able to pay off my mortgage or buy a house. Turkey did not buy the man a house. But they be so quick to push you off into that foreign, to get you off on your way and to sell that, oh man, Sheik is the best thing because their fighter can't sell over here in the United States. That they got to go over there. The same thing that Tank said. They can't sell over here. And I'm not even a person that's on the sales. These are just facts as it relates to business. Because you can't do it what you hear. No network willing to do this. And they're only willing to give you that. You don't want to bet on yourself. You got to go over there where they're going to pay you more to do less. We see this every day. We see this every day. Because it's no different. Listen, it's no different with somebody that's working at Wendy's, which is fast food, to go over there and work at McDonald's, which is fast food. The only difference is maybe the McDonald's is a little bit more cleaner. Maybe they are a little bit more organized. The difference with Chick-fil-A is they might pay for your education. So people are going to take pride in actually making the food and doing it, even though they're all in the same genre. There is no difference. Some people will leave one job to go to another job making the same amount of money because they have to do less work. Because the challenge ain't as big. Yeah, it's the same pay, but I ain't got to do all that over here. That's what these boxers are doing. I ain't got to go see that, man. I ain't got to go over there, whatever. And now I'm going to tell y'all the latest narrative with this backhanded ass compliment that they gave. The whole, I apologize and all this. I apologize. You know what I'm saying? I apologize. Oh, hindsight is 2020 looking ass. The backhanded compliment to all of this is in the same breath. They'll say, oh, well, now it's a question mark as to whether or not if you want a Turkey guys, if you go over there, that you want to get robbed. Tank had already said that you might get robbed. So, and this is the excuse. Oh, he a knockout artist. Why is he worried about that? Well, no, you look at him like a knockout artist. He's just good enough to where once he figure you out, he can close the show. The guy that you like 9 times out of 10 can't do that. And that's why I'm one of the only ones that'll tell you, I love boxers. I love people that can box. But I would take somebody that can box and end the show over a pure boxer. You know why? Because they are always subject to a referee rendering something. When you can stop somebody or knock somebody out, however you want to end the contest in a fair way, legally. If you are one of those types that have mastered the ability to end the contest, I would prefer that. Why? Because I would not be subject to 3 other people looking at the fight and changing the outcome. But you know what the new narrative is in this backhanded compliment? Well, why would he have to go over to PBC? Why would he have to go over to PBC? Bud did it. But you're not Bud. That's the other thing. The 2 guys, like, because I call them Lionel. Bud is Lionel. And then you got Wiley Kid and Wiley Cat. They are not Bud. That's another thing. Neither one of them are Floyd. Neither one of them are Bud. Keyshawn shows flashes of things that Bud can do. He is not Bud. So they flipped it around and was like, oh, well, Devin will have to go over to the PBC. Don't act like he can't get robbed and then do some dumb shit like bring up the Lubin and Ramos fight, which once again showed another bias, because this only came up because the guy who they felt got robbed was the same thing as them, Dominican. That's the only reason. So they flipped it around, and because it's Devin, they saying, oh, well, Devin never would have won. Because I always say, man, listen, show me in action where Devin wanted to fight Tank. Show me in action where Shakur really wanted to fight Tank. And everybody say, listen, man, you can paint all the narrative. Nobody can ever answer that question. Why? Because they can't show me in action where either one of them wanted to fight Tank. And I just proved it with Keyshawn, that he didn't really want to fight him. That he was using his name for clout. They changed the narrative as to, oh, well, Devin won't, he'll have to go over to PBC. That he can get robbed over there where he got all the favor. Like, okay, listen. You can't, this is what you call a checkmate. If you want to label the guy as a knockout artist, right? Because over 9, I would say 9 times out of 10, he gonna knock you out, right? Because not his record. I'm in action. So if you go back in action and you look at the record, things that have already happened, not even considering this Lamont Roach fight, things that have already happened, 9 times out of 10, his record shows that it's above 90% probability that he gonna knock your ass out, right? Because that's what the actions have shown. Does not mean that he can get in a bout to where somebody can challenge him or rise to the occasion to where it might go to the scorecard. It might. But if you want to label him as a knockout artist, right? And you got to go over there to PBC, what you worried about? What? Okay, so if PBC can rob you, you would think that even if you were outboxing him, right? And it went to the scorecards, right? That they will rob you. So you can't make that argument. Why? Because you can't call him a knockout artist then. You got to recognize that he can box too. But that's too difficult because it's easy to say, oh man, all he do is knock people out. Because that's what winds up happening. That's all you see. So the new narrative is, these guys don't want to go over to PBC because they might get robbed. We got people that started talking about Shakur, how much money. I said, oh man, you going off into Fanager land, man. Only reason why I ever talk about the numbers is because people make that their highest priority. So then I have to go back and actually do my homework to actually see if numbers was the actual play. So with that Devin and Shakur stuff, that was a lie. Bob said it was a lie. If you do the math, it was a lie. It's like 5 different ways you can disprove it. I got a whole video out there breaking it down as to how it was a lie with all facts. Nothing based on my opinion. So now we at a point to where fans can actually say, oh man, Tank don't want to fight him, man. Okay, well tell me how he don't want to fight him. Or show me how your fighter actually wanted to fight him. Oh man, that's a narrative, man. No, well show me in action what happened. Like, cause your fighter said he wanted to be undisputed. And I'm calling him your fighter because right now you're taking that stance over there, even though I rock with the dude too. I've just been seeing through the bullshit lately. Tell me how. They can't do it. And the analogy I always use is because I be over there on Pop channel. I be saying, listen, man, if I offer Pop a plate and I tell him come break bread with me, we getting ready to play some spades. We got the dominoes. You know, if you want, I mean, I don't really shoot dice no more, but if y'all want to, you know, just whatever. You want to do that? I got, man, listen, man, I got some lemon pepper wings I'm doing. We got steaks. We got veggie kebabs. We doing it real big. Come get a plate. He can't walk away. Oh, man, Body, he don't want me to break bread with him. But I offered you to come over here. You chose to go elsewhere. So how do I want to get that smoke on the space table with you? How I want to see you? How I want to see you on that domino table? We got gloves over here too. What we could get some light sparring. Like what smoke was I dodging by offering you to come to the party? But the reality of it is this, man. They seen what happened because they were fucking around, right? When Tank was out here being undisciplined and not undisciplined, but like where he was you could say he was letting himself get balloon up. You know what I'm saying? The speculation on my behalf, I'm gonna speculate. The speculation probably would be from drinking because it'll blow you up, man. Drinking will blow your weight up, man. So when he got more discipline, got back into his fighting shape, don't let himself bounce out of it, because that was Earl's problem too, and you see that was Adrian Broner's problem too. But when he cut back, people in the congregation started getting more disciplined, started getting more focused, started getting all on his shit. And then he started ramping up and making his run. Right? They're like, oh, this Tank is different. This Tank is in his mental prime, he's in his physical prime, and they just saw what happened to Frank Martin. And you notice ain't nobody really been calling for Frank. Frank lost to Tank, but Frank, he one of my guys too. It's just he was on the other side of that, you know what I'm saying? And that's based on tenure. That's just like if anybody get in the ring with Jamel, especially what I seen him do at 54, I'm gonna take Jamel. He has gotten the benefit of the doubt, unless I seen him in some kind of way, and I'm like, nah, man, like, something that would show me, and something that I could see was like, man, he ain't the same. No, because I've seen what he can do. He can turn a fight around with one punch. You can be outboxing the shit out of him, and he can hit you with that overhand right, and you might lose a couple years off your life. You might survive, but I've seen him do it. That don't make you an only fan. That make you an observationist. Statistics. Empirical data. Especially when you see these guys and they have not always had all of the advantages. That's the other thing that I look at. A lot of these guys that everybody want to put on knee pads for, they've had the advantages in almost all of their fights. All of them. You can't get anointed like that. And if you ain't ready to pull, like, I'm not even saying you should, because that's not my department telling somebody what they can make and what they can do. All I'm going to say is, if you're not ready to have your Floyd, Oscar De La Hoya moment, right? If you're not ready to have that and you got to do whatever it is to do to get the fight or whatever, you can't go over there and complain because you want more than what your market value is at the time. It's like the cost of a house. The value of a house is only based on what people are willing to pay for it. It just is what it is. You can't be walking around, man, that house ain't even worth it. Well, if it is because somebody was actually willing to pay for it. Ain't nobody willing to pay for that house at the amount that you want. That's why it's been sitting in abandoned. That's why it's losing equity. That's why I need to get touched up a little bit. It needs some work done. It need a facelift. Yard work. It's something gotta do to make the value of it. But people, when you get to talking like that, oh man, you being a fan, like, no, in boxing, it's the same thing, man. They're looking at it like a business. So it's not like you wasn't offered a plate and you can come sit at the table, but now it's all these conspiracies about how PBC will rob you. Or they're gonna lowball you. How somebody's getting low, but then they'll tell you, oh man, Boots turned down the highest payday of his life. They'll tell you all these people who turn down the highest paydays of their life, right? But when their boxer turn down the highest payday of their life, with I don't know what kind of upside it is, because nobody even know what the pay-per-view would do. They'll still sit up there and try to tell you that the guy didn't want to fight the other guy. The guy don't want to fight that guy when the offer was already made. Don't be a hindsight of 2020 looking person, man. Be responsible. That's why I say, man, I call them. People be thinking, oh man, you trying to be holier than thou. No, man. It's like, look, man, to be effective, right? To be effective, or shall I say effective. To be effective, and have the effect that you want, you gotta have responsible boxing talk, man. Don't just go hang around people where you can just circle jerk and y'all can just get it off and y'all can say the same narrative. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And every episode is the same shit. The same shit every episode. Like, don't do that, man. Bring something new to the table. Open up your horizon. Start looking at the that's what we've been doing. We've been looking at these up and coming boxers and looking at who's up next and who this and who that. And even that's starting to get overshadowed because of tribalism. But there's a young guy out there named Abdullah Mason, man, and he looking like he got next. And if you say that, it's like, oh man, no, man, he don't got next. Well, show me some empirical data. That's what I try to do. People try to throw out triangle theories. It applies and it don't, because in any given match, anything can happen. But when you're trying to match an opponent, when promoters are actually matching opponents, they do a such thing as common opponent. What's a common opponent? A triangle theory. So it comes into play. You just discount it, or you just use it or discount it. Whether if it's to your detriment, you gonna throw it out. If it's to your benefit, you gonna use it. It's the same shit people do in debates. When they contradict themselves, they'll be talking, right, and you let them talk long enough, they'll contradict themselves right at the end of what they saying. You let them talk for 3 minutes. In the first minute, they're gonna say some shit, and in the third minute, they're gonna say some shit that contradicted what they said in the first. And then try to do the typewriter on you and change topics on you once you nail their ass to the motherfucking goalpost. It's like, are y'all gonna keep moving the goalposts? I used to get the KY jelly, right? So it'd be hard to pick up to move those goalposts, right? Now my new theory is I'm just gonna nail your ass to that goalpost. That's why I say I do body work. You know what I'm saying? That shit might look ugly, but it's very effective. And I don't know everything. But that's what's been exposed, man. Like the push for foreign, man, the luster of it is gone. It's a question mark of it. Yes, he has good intentions, but all I see is, and I was saying this in real time. This is what I was saying, because if you go back and you look at certain channels, I'm in the comment section. They're gonna say I was trolling, but I was actually saying some shit that they didn't like in real time that's coming to pass right now. And what I said was, this thing that y'all be trying, because they be trying to say Al is like Kaiser Sose, right? I said, this thing that y'all put, all this shit y'all put on Al, right? When he run all his fighters like little, like they all have their little, let's just say Al run shit like, it's like this. Like he is the big organization, right? And he got all these little LLCs running around. And he just help out all these little LLCs to where they can make decisions as to what they want to do with their business. He just advises them, oh no, I wouldn't do that, because you got to look at this and this, because I got this and this, and this is what you can do. And this is what I'm going to do for your little LLC. I'm going to get you right. I'm going to have you do this and just work with me. And some people, sometimes the LLCs go out there and they make decisions. They write bad checks. They do shit. They get their little LLCs in trouble. Sometimes it don't have nothing to do with Al. But in real time, I was saying, listen, man, it sounds like y'all want Turkey to have the same power that y'all think that Al have, right? And when he get it, it's gonna be crazy, because them guys gotta fly over. Now I'm just now starting to hear what I was saying back in real time before. Like in hindsight, these guys are out of their element, man. It's a whole different. I'm like, Eureka. So when you were talking, I said, so all the fights gonna be over there and whatever, and like they're not gonna be over here. Like, how's that gonna work? Different time element. Like all these things that are different, they're not in their element. It takes time to acclimate, unless they're gonna give them plenty of time to go over there. But then you gotta have the you gotta have the cost of living allowance to be able to stay over there. That's one of the things I said with Fortune. I said, man, he might have went over there to Japan too late. I hope he got a big enough bag, because they said, I'm not parking right. They said it was like $5 million. I'm like, well, I hope part of that is for him to get over there early enough to where he ain't doing the rush job, because you can't rush job that jet lag, the shit that it take. Because I was in Korea. I was in Korea for 18 months. I was in Iraq. When I was in the army. So I know about traveling and, you know what I'm saying, and all this. And I know what it does to your body. I know you got to get into a rhythm. Your body got to have a rhythm to it. And it's a science to it. And I said, we are not considering all that. All you see is a big turkey bag and a turkey bowl, and you ready to go turkey ham. God damn. And what happened? It bites you in the ass. So what happened to Jared? Bit him in the ass. It just happened to Bacoli. Bacoli was like, hey, listen, and I heard, not the pocket watch, but I heard the man got $4 million for that. Somebody saying that it was a flop. Somebody said, nah, man, that man got hit on top of his head and he felt like, you know what I'm saying, a tower of Jenga. I don't know. But all money ain't good money, especially if they use that to get Bacoli out the way. Because Bacoli with a full training camp, ready to go, will be something else. Parker did what he was supposed to do. He got a bigger threat. You already saw it in the first round with the uppercut. He's so quick and powerful. He hurt. I ain't gonna say he hurt him, but he woke Parker up in that first round. Had he not clipped him on the top of the head, that shit could have got ugly, man. Especially if that big dude, adrenaline got flowing and all that. But he did what he was supposed to do. He stopped him in the third round. How is that going to play out for him? Because he had already had a fight lined up. I think it might not mess with that fight. But we'll see because of the politics of boxing. That might have been the way to get Bacoli, this big beast, up out of there and out the way. So some other things can happen because he's still a force to be reckoned with. Patty got put out in the 9th round. And for me, as a fan of Shakur, man, I wanted to see him break Patty Will, man. I wanted to see him do something to Patty Will, like Patty be like, man, yeah, man, I'm about to, I guess I got to work this job. I guess this thing is for me. No, this man left that fight thinking, this man, I'm gonna tell you, this is how I think, because I watched the interviews. Josh Padley left that interview saying, man, now listen, man, I think I could really do this boxing stuff. He said, listen, now I got more than enough. Now I can train the way I'm supposed to. Now I can go on. I'm like, all right. So hey, look, he knew he got hurt. He said the hits to the head were not all that. He said it was really the body, and with me not being conditioned down there, I couldn't take it. He kept hitting me in the same spot. But he left with the confidence that he can go and do boxing full time. You can interpret that however you want. I'm going to read these comments now. I haven't read not one of them. Oh, it's been Coke Key in there. My bad. I'm getting to these comments now, Coke Key. Salute to Coke Key, man. He be on it, man. Cookie Monster, Bodywork, sounding good. Long time I got his twin. Long time I got Bodywork in the building. Salute his twin. Bodywork. I'm fucking sick of these handy sections. Me too. Salute Cookie. Salute Shakur. Let me see. Shakur been boxing too long. Let's see. Shakur been boxing too long. His tools will eventually not serve him. Floyd, one of the few guys who can survive the elites with broken hands. Shakur has to take big fights now before his mouths run out. Facts. Shakur hands may not be made for boxing, or he been boxing too long. Yeah. That's why I said the man with peanut brittle hands, man. I'm like, even when you seen him, man, he was hitting Josh Padley with some vicious stuff. And Padley was still up. Like the headshots, he was still up. I said, man, this other guy I know, this other little guy I know gonna eat them like some Skittles, man. Haney is a clown. He been chilling in the cut here lately, man. Shiraz getting that draw was a gift, but you gotta expect buys from Turkey. Yeah, it was a gift because I wasn't even big on Adames, but I had to salute Adames because he performed like I didn't think he could. Like I really didn't. Suleiman does it for Canelo. Eddie Hearn does it for Mayo Sapiens. Turkey gonna look out for his people. Yeah. is nasty at riding Haney meat. Yeah, I had to turn off the channel when he said, yeah, I was in there. I just wanted to see how far it be going, how far it's gonna go out, man. I be wanting to see how far they gonna play that out, man. But yeah, that's true. Only chilling in the cut because he praying to Allah for Davis to lose the road. You know Haney got his tweets ready on March 1st. All eyes on Tank. It's all eyes on. It's been, to be honest, Coach, you and I both know, man. It's already been all eyes on Tank, man. It's like, man, I mean, for a guy to not be anything and to not fight anybody, it's sure crazy how everybody want to fight people that he's already fought, and can't nobody do an interview. It's not a content creator that can't do anything without putting his name. They interview anybody. Even that replacement. You remember that replacement they said they had as an option? I heard 3 different names. I heard Josh Padley, that dude JDR Herrera, that Cuban that's living over there in Dubai, that knockout artist, Southpaw. And this other guy that's like 42-0, and Sean Zattel had interviewed him. When Sean Zattel interviewed him, Sean Zattel let him get on there and blaspheme Tank. I'm like, dude, don't nobody even know who you are. Don't nobody even know who you are. You got people doing weeks of content, and they do an interview with Bud, but the whole title is Bud says this about Tank. Bud says that about Tank. I'm like, nobody can promote themselves. Even in the build up with Keyshawn, I said, man, don't do your promotion like that, man. You don't want to follow the Devin Haney route, man. You've been using this man's name for promotion, knowing damn well you're never going to fight him. And Keyshawn did the same thing. His fans go harder than him. I'm like, I wish he had the same energy as y'all. And I like Keyshawn. I just don't like the antics, man. I don't like the antics, and I'm not a bandwagon guy. I'm not going to forego empirical, evidential, non-circumstantial evidence to jump on a bandwagon for somebody who we haven't even seen this dude fight anybody where he don't have the advantages, and he don't want to avenge himself against Andy Cruz, and he ain't got to fight Shakur, and all the time he been clout chasing T.O. Now he don't want to fight T.O. on some racial stuff when he played into the game, and he introduced that to Baranchek. That's out of pocket, and nobody would tell him that. He did an interview on this one channel saying, don't ask me about Tank, go ask him about me. And then went right on another video later that day, and it was Tank. I said, so that's all they do. Mention his name, but they have no plans on fighting him. No plans on fighting him. And then this is the biggest gaslighting. This is the biggest gaslight narrative of it all. They always say, what did Rolly do to fight him? What did Pitbull do to get a fight? Pitbull was a replacement when Rolly had to pull out with those sexual allegations, right? When Devin was pump faking, saying that he would be a fill-in, which was a lie, on short notice. Because he put his name in the hat and said he would, which was a lie. Rolly was the mandatory, was one of his mandatories. Because they'll say, that little Reggie belt or whatever. Well, just like when David Morrell had been fighting Canelo Alvarez when he was down there at 168 with that WBA Reggie belt. The Reggie belt has to fight the mandatories. So since 2021, David Morrell was fighting all of Canelo's mandatories. So when you hold that Reggie belt, you have to fight the mandatories. So a lot of them guys, when he was defending his mandatory, they were the ones that was actually getting the shot because they were the mandatories. And they were already under the PBC. They was already under the umbrella. But they don't look at Top Rank with a critical eye saying, hey man, y'all got all the belts. when these guys gonna fight those guys? They don't look at it like that. It's only when it comes to Tank over there on PBC fighting his mandatory. And the reason why I be knowing these things, especially when it come down to Shakur, because as a Shakur fan, I used to have to defend against the Devin fans, all these other fans as a Shakur fan, and I found myself asking these questions. Well, why he ain't never fight Gary Russell? Mr. Gary Russell Jr. As a fan, I used to have to defend that. And you know what I would say? I have no idea why he don't want to get in there with Mr. Gary Antoine Russell. Probably the same reason why a lot of people don't want to get in there with Mr. Gary Antoine Russell. Because in his prime, when he was active, couldn't nobody really see Mr. Gary Russell. He had that issue with Loma. He went back and got that belt, and he had that belt for what, 6 years, 352 days? The longest reigning champion. Nobody wanted to see him. Same thing with Tevin Farmer. And people were saying, oh man, well, why Tank ain't fight Tevin Farmer? I don't know. I don't know why Tank didn't fight Tevin Farmer. With the Mr. Gary Russell thing, they were apart, but I don't know why he didn't fight Mr. Gary Russell Jr. I know it got to a certain point in time to where Mr. Gary Russell Jr. was inactive, and so it didn't make sense because they were just telling Mr. Gary to just get in the division and get a win, like get like fight in the division and get, you know what I'm saying, then you can, you know what I'm saying, then we can get it on. But I was honest enough to say, man, I don't know why they didn't fight. I can tell you why him and those other guys did not fight. Because Top Rank had this thing to where it was just say Tank name, knowing you ain't gonna fight him as you go to fight the next guy. Because they had a plan. You just seen the plan with Keyshawn. You seen the plan with Tio. You seen the plan with Shakur. And everybody say, oh, well, why Tank ain't fight them? It's like, why didn't they do anything the guy should go make a fight with him? And then the whole thing is this. It's not just Tank. It's like, okay, well, why didn't Shakur fight Tio? Because he always mission with Tank. Why didn't Shakur fight Devin? Oh, well, we know why Shakur ain't fight Devin. But why Devin ain't fight Tio? Why Shakur didn't fight Loma? Because there's only one guy that they say everybody should fight, but they don't hold no accountability for everybody else not fighting each other or doing what they need to do to fight him. Oh man, that's all in-house with PBC. But then they'll advertise and tell you, oh man, like when it comes to Matchroom, oh man, that's in-house, man. That's why it makes sense. That's an in-house fight. That's easy money. Why go outside a risk your guy? They'll say all that shit when it comes to Matchroom. They'll say all that shit when it comes to Top Rank. But then when Floyd do it, and when Floyd said it, they ran it for a year with that. When Floyd was like, listen, man, it's TMT. We doing this. And you seen Rolly, who was TMT, you seen all that. But when Bob came out and said, we're fighters that fight for Top Rank, when he had Shakur, that's all the plan was. For Shakur to fight in-house fighters. That Edwin De Los Santos thing, that was like, man, that was the perfect storm. That's why I called it the perfect storm. Because that really wasn't supposed to happen ever in a million years. And yeah, maybe Shakur put up a stinker as far as output, but then maybe Edwin didn't sell out the way he needed to, because that was a chance of a lifetime. After Frank, man, that was a perfect storm for Edwin De Los Santos. We haven't heard from Edwin. We just now heard a little bit from Frank. But I think PBC got something up their sleeve. And this card, you talk about a lit card? This undercard? Oh man, this undercard is lit. The whole card is lit. Because I want to see if you for the pure boxers. And this is another thing. This is how I know that all that pure boxing shit, this how I know that a lot of people be bullshit when it come down to this pure boxer shit. They still don't give Richardson Hitchens no respect. He survived TMT too. He went over there to Matchroom too. They give Keyshawn all the credit for spiking Gustavo Lemos when he brought him down from 40 to 35, and he came in there out of shape and all this other stuff. They give him full credit, but he fought Richardson Hitchens like he was fighting in the title eliminator. He's a pure boxer. I said he's much like Devin, except for he's a little more coordinated. I think offensively he's a little more powerful, and it looked like Devin will go to the body and mix it up. He's willing to mix it up a little bit more. That's the only difference. They two sides of the same coin. Technical pure boxers. Use their reach, use their distance, and all that. Except Richardson Hitchens been doing it under the IBF. With the 10-pound rehydration. So you can imagine what Richardson Hitchens would have looked like if he would have sucked himself down at 35 and made a run around at 35. You can see, and he would have been able to rehydrate. Not under the IBF, but he would have been able to rehydrate. That's the difference. But nobody's giving him no credit. Don't nobody even talk about him. But it's all he won a belt, but he got a belt, and he got this, and he got that. So nobody's on him. That's why I be missing me with that pure boxing stuff. Because Richardson Hitchens one of my guys too. Nobody be on him talking about how he's a good boxer and how he came up through the ranks and how he proved himself. How he fought this competition and that competition and survived and did all this and did it from New York. They just fans. They'll say, "Oh, I ain't no fan of man," but they just fans of certain fighters, certain tribes, and they don't really look at the pure boxing aspect of nothing because he don't get no pub. He don't get no pub. Oh yeah, I saw that. I saw that when he did that Cheeto comment. Hitchens 5'11", Devin 5'8". I think Devin wishes he was 5'11". Devin inside fight is solid, but he has no chance. Yep. I'm hoping Matias show out on March 1st. We need him back in the mix. I hope so. I seen him being more vocal. I just hate that man Sabril won't ever interview with me, man. I was putting stakes in the ground for him, man, but I guess I'm not I'm not in the mix, but I was putting it in for him, man. And I said, you know what? These dudes using my stuff. Asking them there, you look at the whole segment, look at the video, and then go ask them all the questions that was in my video. Hindsight, though. But that's all I had, man. Like, listen, man, the moral of this story, and salute to you for holding it down, Koki. Salute to you. But the moral of this story is, man, let's not be hindsight is 2020, man. If you uncomfortable to actually tell the truth about it, just say no comment in these conversations because you look real crazy in hindsight where you got to come back and be like, I was right. It's like, no, you had an agenda when you originally said what you said. You were not looking to say anything favorable about the person you were talking about. And now that your man's got done wrong, now you got to come back and apologize because you got egg on your face. You knew, and then for some of these guys, you knew this person over here was racist when they started doing whatever they did, but because you want to maintain your congregation, you don't want to tell the truth in real time. You'll just wait 3 or 4 weeks or a month later and then come back and regurgitate some shit that's already on wax by somebody else, like myself. I speak about it in real time, and if it's important enough to have a benchmark to where somebody can come back and listen to, that's why I put the stake in the ground so you can be like, hey, listen, man, I was saying this back then. And it sounds a little bit vain, but I'm talking, these videos be for the guys that really want to know what's going on from a different perspective. Maybe, just maybe the truth is somewhere in the middle. Maybe. That's the moral of the story, man. Don't listen. Have relaxed eyes on these conversations. Don't get too overwhelmed and wound up and part of use your tribalism or your knee pad wearism for your affinity for whoever just because. Like, be more balanced in the conversation. Take your time and be open to hear something that you might not have thought of. But I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna be here all week, man. I'm gonna be here all week. I'm gonna be doing videos, and I'll probably go live like 2 more times before because it's fight week, man. It's fight week, man. We getting ready to see how promotion is done. We getting ready to see the difference in how the events are, how the cards are, like, how American boxing should be, and how the whole process, no antics, no gimmicks, no Hollywood stuff, other than people just talking they trash, but like nothing gimmicky, nothing made up, nothing like that's not organic. We getting ready to see how it's done, man. This is why these guys be putting on these shows, and they show you, man, because it's a good card, man. But anyways, man, I appreciate everybody who tuned in, man. Salute to everybody who was listening. If you could hit the like button, it does work. And if you're listening to the playback, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Did I hit a nerve? Was I out of pocket? Did anything make sense? Did anything make sense? Because I do this. I'll be listening to something on YouTube and then be real positive. And I might have listened for like 25 minutes to the whole thing. And I might have hit the like button, but I don't give any feedback. But I really got something from it. So if I can remember, I'll make a note to myself. And later on, I'll go back and say, hey, man, great point when you said this, or salute for that, or impressive video, or keep up the good work, or something. It goes a long way, because in a time where everybody needs to be salacious and to run up numbers and to do all these crazy things, it's very hard to stand up and say things that other people don't want to say, and stand on facts, right? Be willing to say something that might offend the masses that's trying to be popular or be part of an in crowd. It's hard to do that in today's day and time. So if you heard anything in here that you didn't like, leave it in the comment section. You heard something that was thoughtful or thought-provoking, leave it in the comment section. But I appreciate everybody who came through, man. Don't be a hindsight of 2020 looking ass. You feel me? Anyway, thanks for choosing Bodywork Boxing. But we don't take things for face value. We do that body work.
He didn't want to box. He wanted to actually prove that he could punch with you. He was like, what the fuck is this nigga, right? Oh, okay, you want to go to sleep. You tired.
Welcome to Bodywork.